Hi everyone, it's Wednesday Warriors and it's me, Ariel. And this week I'm going to be talking about gratitude as it relates to my eating disorder. Because even though I don't consider myself to have an eating disorder anymore and I consider my eating disorder part of my past, I am grateful for it. And I know initially that sounds very strange to say that I am grateful for my eating disorder, but I am grateful for my eating disorder because in having it, and in going through the recovery process, I have gained so much, and it really is a gift in a lot of ways. So I can honestly say that I am not sorry that it happened, and I'm not sorry that I went through those things, because it has allowed me so much more than it ever took from me. I think it's very important to remember that everyone has something that they go through, and some people have many things that they go through that are very difficult, that are hardships, that are very trying, that are struggles for them, problems, issues, whatever you want to call them, obstacles, roadblocks. And everyone has something. It doesn't have to be an eating disorder, or it can be an eating disorder along with many other things too. And having those things happen to us can actually be a twisted sort of a blessing. And it often doesn't seem like a blessing when we're going through those things, but often in retrospect, we can really see that we have been given some true gifts for going along the path that we have walked. And the reward really comes from choosing a certain path. And for me, I chose recovery. And in choosing that path and in walking it and in getting to, as I would like to say, the other side, I have been able to look back on things and see things from a different perspective. And especially now these days, really being able to see things from several perspectives, from the perspective of a woman. And that's just more of a general sort of a thing, where I can see things just from the female perspective, so to speak, and as a person. And then I can see things from the perspective of a recovered individual. And I can also see things now from the perspective of a therapist, of someone who is in a helping profession. So I have all these different perspectives, and really what that allows me is very keen self-awareness, but also a real gift to help other people. And I call it a gift, not because I'm tooting my own horn and saying, oh, I'm so great at this. I call it a gift because I really consider it a gift. For me, it is a true gift. So I'm using gift more as a blessing rather than gift as talent. And I really do feel that from going through my own eating disorder and recovering, that I am better able to help people than if I was in a helping profession but had never gone through that struggle myself, or if I had gone through that struggle myself but never recovered and was well enough to be in a helping profession. So when you blend those things together, it gives me a sort of unique perspective that I really like, but also it's just a beautiful thing. It's something that I really treasure, that I am able to have that perspective, and I'm grateful for it. And I'm able to say now that there isn't very much in my life that I wish never happened. I think there are many people, I've heard it said so many times, I wish this never happened, or I wish I had never done this, or I wish this had never happened to me. But I don't feel that way about much. I think not necessarily that everything happens for a reason, but just that you can find the good and the beauty in every single thing that life throws at you. So even though I've gone through some really bad things, and I'm sure more bad times are yet to come in different ways in my life, I'm happy for what I've gone through because it makes the happy times that much sweeter and that much more cherished. And I really feel to a certain extent that at 28 years old, I have lived a little bit already. And even though some of the things I've lived through or dealt with haven't been entirely pleasant, they have been life, and they've helped me to appreciate the world as it is and the universe at large. And this journey of life itself, and just to appreciate myself. I think that I appreciate myself so much more because of what I've gone through. Instead of if I had been a 28-year-old woman who hadn't gone through some of the things I've gone through. So I'm not expecting you to sit here and say, thank you for my eating disorder, thank you. But maybe you could ask yourself, what good things have come from my experience with an eating disorder? What good things have come of this? Have I made relationships with other people? Have I found good support systems I might not have looked for otherwise? Have I discovered other ways to cope that can serve me long after my eating disorder is history? Have I discovered other ways to express myself, whether it's by writing or through art or dance or other forms of alternative therapy? Have I learned to feel my emotions, or am I learning to feel them? Have I met people along the way that I wouldn't have met otherwise? Maybe have I learned myself better? Have I gotten to know myself? Have I begun the journey of figuring out who I really am and what I stand for? Have I realized how strong I really am? No matter how bad your life is, how horrible it is, how filled with despair you feel, maybe even in this moment, there's so much to be thankful for. And sometimes it can be very difficult to mentally list the things that are good and that you are grateful for, but I guarantee you that there are many things and you can think of them. I was thinking about the movie It's a Wonderful Life just because it's Christmas time, and I was thinking about that movie and how it related to the topic for this week about gratitude for my eating disorder. And the reason I thought of that movie is because I started to think, I know how my life would personally be affected if I hadn't gone through my eating disorder. And I know all the things that I've gained from going through the eating disorder. And I just sort of told you about that. But I got to thinking, how would other people's lives maybe be different if I hadn't had an eating disorder? Because if I hadn't had an eating disorder, I certainly wouldn't have a website called Actively Arielle, a Voice with a Commitment. And if I hadn't had an eating disorder, I certainly wouldn't do speaking engagements or advocate for people's mental health. And I certainly wouldn't lead an eating disorder support group. And furthermore, I wouldn't be making these videos as I have for the last 4 years. There wouldn't be a presence of Arielle Bear online making eating disorder recovery videos. And if I didn't start making eating disorder recovery videos that are watched by hundreds of people, I also wouldn't have met my wonderful sisterhood on the We Are Freedom Fighters channel. I wouldn't know those women. They wouldn't know me. And I wouldn't have those special relationships in my life that I've cherished for the last several years. And honestly, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Those are just the few things that come to my mind when I think about how my experience of having an eating disorder and recovering from one touched a bunch of other different things in the universe besides just my own personal life. So think about your own life like that. Think about all the struggles that you go through. Think about all of the challenges that you pursue, and accept those challenges and overcome them, and feel rewarded when you do achieve things, and let yourself know that you're proud of yourself. And remember that your life is touching other lives, and even if your life for some strange reason wasn't touching anyone else's life, you're still altering your own path. And it's a very important path because you're the only you. I'm doing a project. It's called Project Positive Thinking, and I decided to do this project in October of this year, and I was waiting for January 1st of 2013 to begin it. It's going to be a separate blog all its own called Project Positive Thinking, Lessons in Gratitude. And basically what I'm going to be doing is listing one thing I've learned every single day and one thing that I'm thankful for every single day. And I'm going to do it all year long, every day, without fail. And not only do I invite you to read it, to sort of start that cycle of gratitude within yourself and within your own life, I invite you to do it with me. Maybe you can start a journal. It doesn't have to be a blog for the world to see, but gratitude is very important and it can really fuel a lot of good things in your life. So, Project Positive Thinking 2013 starts January 1st, and you can find it here. I hope you all have a wonderful week out there. If you celebrate Christmas, I hope you had a beautiful Christmas, and I wish you a very, very happy new year. See you in 2013.